Hello everyone, this is Varsha and you are watching the series of success stories brought to you by Indian Achievers Forum. Once again, we are here with you all to discuss the success story of one more achiever of ours, and this time we have with us Dr. Sujata Sheshadrinathan. So Dr. Sujata Sheshadrinathan is the Director of IT Product and Process and the founder and majority shareholder in Basis Fund Services, a global leader in fund administration. She holds a doctorate in business administration focusing on blockchain adoption. With over 25 years of work experience combining software, finances, and accounts domain, Dr. Sujata has led the companies that are invested into the startups, fund services, fund tech, and legal tech. She is recognized for entrepreneurial excellence and is the recipient of several awards for it. Dr. Sujata is also a professor for management courses teaching entrepreneurship and technology. She is a frequent speaker at events, panels, and contributes regularly to publications on technology related topics. But before we actually start the conversation with her, let's quickly have a look at a very small video telling you about what we actually do.
Indian Achievers Forum is driven by a full-fledged advisory board. The board consists of experienced personalities who have excelled in their respective careers. Together, the forum organizes conferences, events, workshops, exhibitions, trade shows, and B2B initiatives in India as well as abroad. Where there is passion, there is achievement. And where there is achievement, there is Indian Achievers Forum.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much, Varsha. Thank you, Indian Achievers Forum, for considering me for this award and for speaking to me now. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. So before we actually start the conversation, I'm very keen to know about your idea of choosing this particular profession for yourself.
Yeah. So to briefly tell you about myself, I come from the IT background. Though I must say that I've studied Masters in Commerce with a focus on accounting and economics, and therefore the idea of economic finance and accounting was always very exciting for me. That being said, I come from core IT services. I've always worked in software development companies, and this idea was basically originated as me and my partner, which is my husband, we were living abroad, and my husband's been working in the fund administration industry in what used to be tax havens of those days. So there was always this thing in us that we needed to come back to India. We were happier here than we would be in the US. So when we came back and we decided to come back, we realized that this particular industry and this particular line of thought that fund administration could be done from India did not exist back then. So financial statements was the first foray into fund administration that we had. Financial statements for fund companies, for funds, for all kind of fund structures. That was again a very challenging vertical out there. And that financial statements for funds, we are world leaders. We are specialized in financial statements for funds as a world leader, and that idea was again very challenging. It was a concept sale that was happening, and therefore you're speaking to the bootstrapper of the company. The idea and the founder was Mr. Aditya Shesh, and I bootstrapped this company. I had enough faith in this idea as well as enough faith in the person who was running to concept sell this particular idea, and that's where it started. It started with a passion for bringing this industry and laying its foundation in India. And today we stand as India's only specialized fund administrators and financial statement provider for the fund industry. As I said, this idea originated from there and I bootstrapped it. I had enough faith in the idea because I had seen how this particular vertical, the funds have already taken root in the rest of the world. They were that at that point in time, I'm speaking about 2003, 2004, It did not exist much in India, but we wanted to bring that particular part of the industry to India, and we tried to sell this as a concept for the funds to offshore that processing to India, and that's from where this company started.
Lovely to know. And nothing comes to that easy to us, as if thinking of an idea and its execution are actually two very different things. So if you can please talk about the challenges that you have to face while starting up with the company or your journey.
I'm talking about circa 2003. So what do you think could have been the challenges? The challenges started from, up until then, it was only around that time that the IT, the other famous offshore industry of India, the IT sector was moving away from being body shoppers. Y2K was where we had taken off big time. Those were still not days when our brains were trusted for anything beyond very low level jobs where mass scale was needed. And I said, that very bad word, body shoppers for IT, was very much a fact. So the challenges were many. As I said, it was a concept selling. It had not been tested before. So we had to first convince the people that this could be, and foremost, that was a challenge. And then you had to onboard them, and then you had to make them have faith in you and let you do it. And it was a bootstrap company. And this was from before the times when startups became a thing. So funding didn't exist. You had to do it on your own, or you went to the loan sharks. So as I said, I was a bootstrapper. There was enough money only to pay the bills. And there were 2 kids in tow also. So it was a very, very challenging period, very, very challenging times on all fronts. First of all, sales. First of all, you had to sell that thing and get people to trust you and give you the work. Second, you had to train people to work for you. So to tell you the truth, in fund administration industry in India today, all the top people are all trained by basis. We are the ones who started it. So there was a time when we have had almost all the biggest flick from us. And we have had all of them say, oh, you're from basis, okay, we'll take you on without an interview. We've lost people like that to them. So we had to train, and we had to lose a lot of money there also. We were our own HR people. We were our own kachra pickers. Literally picking up the filth was also being done by us. You didn't have admin, you didn't have HR, you didn't have yes, IT, we were very particular about the controls, and we knew what we needed to do. So overall, it was a very challenging period. Overall, it was a period of extreme uncertainties. We only had our own faith and a very, jubilant excitement about being and working for ourselves and being able to do this for our country. That was what kept us going. We were elated at being able to do this. We were happy that we were getting to live our dreams and our passions. So from before couplepreneurs was a word, from before startups was a word, that's when we established. And therefore the challenges were that much more pronounced. Because now if you go for funding, now if you go to sell a concept, now India is trusted, funding is available, resources are available, skills are available. And you already have a lot of this glamour around the word startup, this glamour around the word couplepreneurs, which didn't exist back then. So overall, it was challenges all around. But yes, there was also a lot of excitement in being the first to be there.
Right. So if I talk about the company, what exactly are the product and services that you people are delivering to market out there?
So our core services, we started off with financial statement preparation for the fund industry. Now the fund industry as it exists in Europe, in US, in the Far East, in Middle East, every fund industry has got its own accounting standards. It has got its own favorite fund structures. It has got a lot of depth to the people who invest into these funds. So that's the statement, the financial statement preparation for this industry by itself was a very challenging task. And as I said, we are the world leaders in that particular sector. And then we moved on to fund administration. So financial statements is technically a smaller part of the whole entire fund administration gamut. We come to fund administration with great knowledge. Our founder, Aditya Shesh, is one of the pioneers of this industry in India. A lot of what he learned and his experiences have even gone into the creation of rules for the gift city in Gujarat. So he's been in this industry since about, I would say, about 98, 99. So Aditya Shesh saw the growth of fund industry, fund administration, funds world over. So funds can be of very varied and very complex structures also. So and many gaps exist. Gap not in gap as in accounting practices. So you have US GAAP, you have European GAAP, you have the Singapore GAAP, the Japan GAAP, various accounting standards that have to be followed. Indian GAAP also exists, IAS as we call them. So all these gaps and the various formats for presentation have to be understood and applied properly. So the industry that we traditionally service, the fund administration, fund accounting, for all structures, private equities, family offices, you have your pension funds, everything, they follow various different structures. It's a very deep knowledge-based industry, and that's our traditional baby. And from there, we moved on to fund administration for private equity when the Indian private equity industry started off. After this growth, as this growth was happening, that's when I formally joined Basis. But that was another one of the challenges. I was not allowed to join Basis because unfortunately I'm a wife of one of the founders. So the other partners wanted their wives to join too, and then my joining actually happened after a parasitic son of one of the partners also made use of our company. After all that, because I was actually talented, I was actually working out there, they weren't able to block me beyond a point because the company needed someone who could infuse digitization or software sense into our work. Am I making sense there? They wanted someone to look at fund accounting from a software perspective. So this person needed to know accounting, needed to understand finance, and also needed to be able to develop products and process around funds. So that's the time when I joined Basis. That's besides the point. So these two are our traditional products, and as I told you, we have forayed into a lot more beyond traditional fund administration. I hold patent to a product called MasterDraft. MasterDraft is a software that I would proudly like to introduce to the world as democratizing the process of creating agreements and contracts, of bringing in controls into agreements and contracts, and making them compliant, governance-oriented products. So we have this MasterDraft tool that helps you create contracts, agreements, customize them, lock clauses, Aadhaar signature. It's a very, very in-depth tool to help with contracts. And then we have our HRD services that we have recently started. Again, out there we come with HRD services with a flavor of digitization, where we have everything from induction, onboarding, to appraisal, to even attrition prediction, all on digitized platforms. So my touch to the companies again that. So these are the various verticals and products that we are also deeply into US tax. We do a lot of work for funds on US tax. So these are the various verticals that we, products and verticals that we currently are working on.
Right. So now, talking about the future, everyone do plans for their future. So what further plan are you people having, in the upcoming years with the company? So if you can please share those plans with us as well.
Yeah. So Varsha, to tell you about our industry is one that changes very, very often, because it's an industry which has got a lot of rules, laws relevant to itself. So, and as I said, there are various different gaps. Gaps are the accounting standards and practices that are followed. So our industry by itself is very, very dynamic. And at the very bottom line, come on, funds deal with money. So you are going to have to be very precise. Very correct. Right down to our name itself, basis, comes from the basis points which are used in the fund administration industry, in the fund investment industry, to measure a whole lot of things. So that is like a fraction of a percentage. And that's how precise we should be, and that's what is expected out of us. So our knowledge base by itself is highly evolved and keeps evolving. So we have got a lot of software systems that we have actually managed to automate accounting. We are also SOC certified, which is a service industry certification that we have for our controls, which was by itself very challenging. SSAE 18 Type 2 is a very challenging certification. So all these were possible because we are continuously upgrading our systems, updating our own knowledge base, of course, and we have digitized and also managed to automate a lot of our process, which makes us 99% efficient on quality as well as timing of deliveries. So we hope to hold on to that, and we hope to extend that service that we are offering to beyond fund accounting. We went beyond fund accounting. We went into fund administration for private equity and developed a product called EP, which we use to service our private equity clients. We've got digital onboarding, which we work through with the master draft. We've got customer services, client information services, again happening on internet platforms. A whole lot of data that we have goes into creating predictive software that also we offer. In fact, most of our clients who come to us get the basis edge of us being able to tell them how to even structure their funds. We have got Mauritius presence, so we advise them. Our advisory services, which is constantly upgrading, updating and growing, is another vertical where we are constantly working on. And as I said, the automation and digitization of our work, it's a process that we started about 8 years back, and it's an ongoing process. With every stage, we are coming out with new development. Master Draft, our legal software, is being marketed now. Again, comes out with improvements with each version. And the HRD services is very recent, but even we are very happy to know that we've already managed to onboard 2,000 people with it. That's quite a big number for a baby that just started very recently. So this is what our future looks like. Very exciting times to be in India at present, because India is becoming more and more tech savvy, and Web3 is being made for India. So I have done my doctorate in blockchain adoption, and I can say that we are there at the top of the game of tech, of emerging tech, of high-end tech, of all the tech-related jargon that you could use. We have it on board, and we only can see more future probabilities of those technologies also getting integrated into our products, into newer products being developed, and our processes being automated and digitized, both to benefit us as well as our clients as far as precision and timing of output is concerned.
Right. So now, talking about this Atmanirbhar Bharat mission, a lot has happened in the last few years, and still the situation is something which is there in the market. But then, of course, we all have learned how to live with the COVID scenario. So if I ask you, what are your thoughts and views on this Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign, and how is your company working towards this?
All right, I can answer you for the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign as a company as well as an individual. So to first start off, there has been no dearth of jargon anywhere in the world. Politicians give jargon. But luckily for us, in the last 10 years, there has been no jargon in India. There's been actual work. So in India, the pilferages and leakages by the politicians is at an all-time low, which releases a lot of money for actual work, which is what is happening. So if you notice, with each budget, newer schemes they're actioned, and they are you can have the information about them the direct credits that are happening, the promised credits and the promised aid, the promised skills development that is happening. I happen to know the people who are from the bureaucracy, but they're working in the skills development implementation. There are a lot of policies that are coming out for skills development by the government of India, and I know a lot of people who are working on implementing them at the ground level, and there's wonderful work happening there. We can see it all around. So as a company, we have always been an India-centric company. We have always believed in that Bharat is Saksham. We are capable of it. We have seen that we did it. Basis is evidence for you that we can do it, and we have done it. And this fund administration, as I mentioned, it's not something that people will easily trust you with, because it needs a lot of precision and it needs a lot of knowledge and application of the knowledge. It's where you need to be aware and almost always precise. 99% plus precision is expected. So we are a success story in a way of Atmanirbhar Bharat. As a company, we are always focusing on it. As I said, our company, our kind of vertical needs us to train. We can't really recruit directly from the industry. So we have always been people who have been skilling our staff. And once a skill is learned, it's carried with you for life, right? So the Atmanirbhar Bharat was not just something that the government of India announced and let it be there. Its effect was very relevant and prevalent to be seen during the lockdown. You always come across people, you always come across youngsters who are brimming with ideas and they're willing to work on it. When you become an entrepreneur versus when you are an employee, there's a huge difference. To an entrepreneur, you may have a problem with Narayan Murthy sir's statements, but that is a fact. An entrepreneur has no start or end time. We are on our job, we love what we are doing. And you must admit that you see it all around in India now, that kind of fervor. So that kind of fervor that we had in 2004 is seen a lot in India today. And that fervor is also happening because it's a two-way street. That fervor exists because government and government policies are supporting that fervor, and that fervor is further encouraging the government to do more for it. So Atmanirbhar Bharat, as far as I am concerned, that it's a huge success goes without saying. The way our companies are doing, the way we are facing the worldwide problems that are happening with our heads held high, it's evidence for the fact that Atmanirbhar Bharat is succeeding. To tell you also on a personal level, I teach technology entrepreneurship courses. I work with a lot of women's organizations in empowerment of entrepreneurship and running a lot of mentorship programs. I'm also registered in the relevant government platforms for it. I speak at a lot of forums, women-centric as well as generic, for both deep tech, for maybe artificial intelligence and blockchain related topics, Web3, or I also speak cryptocurrency is also there. And I also mentor a lot of people who are on the path of entrepreneurship as well as career development. I mean, it's their choice whether they want to work or they want to go for entrepreneurship. I must tell you that in the last 20 years, I have seen a sea change. So as an individual, when I'm working with people, and when I'm going out and I'm buying and I'm seeing all this fervor, and then I'm going to buy bananas and paying 40 rupees for bananas using UPI, I'm the happiest person. So that by itself is proof of the fact that this whole drive that was given the name of Atmanirbhar Bharat, make in India for the world, is what basis was. That was a motto with which we started our company. We wanted to bring that back to India. And Make in India for the world was the dream that we held on to. And I can tell you this with reasonable confidence of someone who has worked there, gone out there and done that, and is working continuously with youth and women who are coming into the employment. They were not in the formalized employment sector right now. All of us know the story of how many families survived on the pickles, papads, and food dabbas that were being sent out by women during the lockdown. don't we? So somewhere an idea was floated, and that idea has taken off big time. So as far as I am concerned, Atmanirbhar Bharat is not just a jargon or the name of a scheme. It is a host of activities that are going together into empowering India and proving India's existence in the world as a world leader for a lot of industries, for knowledge bases. We were there. I mean, it's there in our DNA somewhere. It's just coming out again now. And I'm very happy to note that this enthusiasm that is there among the youth today to stay in our country and to develop our country, its effect is seen all around. Are you from Mumbai or from Delhi? I don't know. If you're from Mumbai, I'm sure you would have tried the Atal Setu. I'm sure you would have tried all the the sea routes and so much of infrastructure development that's happening. All that will boil down to income for the middle class, for the lower middle class only. So as far as I can see around me and from my participation in various panels and various schemes and programs, I can see people are responding with a lot of vigor and people are actually progressing. There have been many, let's not just limit our vision to urban sectors. If you just step 50 kilometers outside Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, you can see the number of people who are working, who are loving what they do, and who are loving the fact that it is also economically it's remunerative for them to be working like that. So it's when all of us remember a time when those cousins and aunts from foreign countries would visit, and we would gawk at their stuff and we would gawk at their ability to be able to afford so many things. Aren't we all happy today that we don't need to gawk anymore? We're standing at it as equals. That's an experience that everybody has in the last 5 years. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm very glad that this scheme was formally named, floated, and is being encouraged. We have a lot of industries that is being touched by the various components of this particular drive. And so I see it as a success, and I hope it continues. I hope more people are touched by it.
Right, ma'am. So, now comes the question which I personally love to put forward to our awardees, and that is, what are your feelings on winning this Women of Excellence Award?
It's very sad that we don't get our moment of, I am so honored, because I just love it. Frankly, I don't make fun of the Miss World and the Miss Universe and they're receiving it, because for every woman, for every human being, a recognition of one's performance is something that's a blessing from heaven. I'm very, very honored to receive this award. As you know, the Woman of Excellence Award also comes with the relevant number of years of experience. So the women, to tell you one more thing about BASIS, we are more of a women-centric organization. Probably because the majority stakeholder is a woman or what, I don't know. But about more than 60% of our managers are women. We have a lot of second innings people who work for us, people who come back from breaks due to marriage and childbirth and all that. So for all my women, for all my staff, for all of my team, for my family, for my 2 children who've been great source of support. So I wrote my doctorate during the lockdown. I was writing my thesis. And, at the time, my daughter was still studying to be a lawyer. My son was working and we were all cooped up. My husband was working. We were all cooped up inside a flat in Mumbai. Of course, it was a big flat, but it was still that we were all cooped up together without any house in. So I have a great family that supports me, to them, to my universe, to my Baba who's been kind, who's been with me throughout my life, to my Satya Sai Baba. To all of them, this award is something that I offer in gratitude. I'm very happy to receive this. I know I'm going to be invigorated. I am invigorated to work very hard. To tell you the fact, this award came to me at a time when I wasn't a great personal challenge due to my health. very great personal challenge. I'm on my second innings right now. But so you can imagine, I mean, I'm sitting here smiling this smile and talking this talk. I'm so excited and thrilled. I'm very happy to be receiving this award. It means a lot to me. Every award does, but this award does have a special edge for me because of many reasons that I just now told you. We run the foundation we run, the actions that we do as giving back to the society, the operations that we run across cities. We have an office in Agartala, Tripura. It was our northeast effort. You know, we signed up again right in the heat of the pandemic. We signed an MOU with the government of Tripura. That was in the end of December 2022, and we were the first to act on there were about 25-30 MOUs signed on that single day. We were the first to act on that. The Chief Minister of Tripura inaugurated our office in July 2023 in Agartala. We've been doing very well, touch wood. So, I'm sorry, July 2022. The MOU was signed in December 2021. You may choose to edit that. So, 2021 December we signed the MOU. July 2022 we opened the office, and it's been going very well. So to our staff there, to our staff in Chennai, Gift City, in Indore, I am very thrilled to our associates abroad. It was a very thrilling moment, and it will continue to remain a matter of pride and gratitude forever. Thank you.
Right, and I once again congratulate you on this achievement of yours.
Thanks, Varsha. Thank you so much. Thanks, Varsha. Thanks, Indian Achievers Forum. Thank you.
All right, so now as we have discussed a lot about your professional journey and also the plans that you're having in the near future, if you can also, tell us a bit about the CSR activities that you as an individual or your company is involved in.
Seva was always a part of my life. So I was always into Seva and always into considering myself blessed enough to be working physically as well as monetarily for the people who are less fortunate. So when we formalized our CSR activities, probably it was the biggest gift that my company gave me, Basis enabled me, my Aditya Shesha founder enabled me to start the Sujata Shesh Foundation. I felt very empowered the day that happened because that formalized our commitments, it formalized our efforts. So we work very actively in various zones of requirement where help is. See, what happens in India is that, in India and all the world too, people are interested in doing those big projects. But when it comes to actually doing those little things that go a long way, there is always a paucity of people because they are not really opportunities where you will get a lot of press coverage, or you will not even be able to tell people you did that. So those are the areas where we are very actively involved. We do pond rejuvenation projects for water conservation and helping out farmers. We personally, as well as through our foundation, help organic farming efforts, and that is one part of it. We are into women empowerment efforts, which I personally work on also. Child education, specifically focusing on girls' education, is something we do. And we have a lot of Gram Seva that happens by way of food, by way of food distribution, medicine distribution. Support to cancer patients is another thing that we are working on. So these are the various areas in which the CSR activity of the Sujata Shesh Foundation takes place. We hope to be able to do better in our work. We hope to be able to take bases higher so that we can do more seva. For me, CSR, more than giving back to the society, for me it is a chance that Baba is giving me to improve myself. So myself and all around me, awareness of where you are and how you can make a difference to another life is what the Sujata Shesh Foundation tries to give me and all of us around.
Right. So now, last but surely not the least, what message or mantra you would like to give to our younger generation to become successful in their careers?
Uh, there is a very short mantra, a single word mantra, and that mantra is called hard work. I would also give it another word. I call it passion. And I will tell the women out there specifically that you are way, way beyond and much, much bigger than the clothes you wear, the brands you carry, and the shade of lipstick you use. You're way bigger than that. You are capable. You forget these words like, multitasking, work-life balance. So the work-life balance is another thing that I personally would like to reword. I won't call it work-life balance. I will say that work and balance are both necessary to everyone. You may call it work and lifestyle, kind of, what do you say, going together with each. Okay, let me ask you this simple question. Your child is in trouble and you're in office. You expect office to adjust and understand the child's requirements, right? The same kind you have to give back to your work. So you have to configure things in such a way that your work and your personal life go together. They are two wheels of a two-wheeler. One can't run alone. You don't have anything. The job, what are you doing earning money if you don't have a personal life? And what is a personal life going to do if you don't bring in that money? So both are needed. And therefore, I would say they go hand in hand. Enjoy both. Enjoy the opportunities you're getting in life. Wake up every day with a vigor, with a smile on your face. As a woman especially, you're capable of facing that challenge. I never had any family support. You don't need it. It is only in your mind. So what makes you the strongest is your mind. So the two words that I always associate, not just with work, with life. So I didn't have an opportunity like you all to complete my education and live my life and then get into so many things. Lifelines and times, what happens with us, we cannot control, but we can control our reaction to it. And that's the only thing that's in our hand. So you have to always keep that passion alive in you. That passion to smell the roses, that passion to look forward to a new sunrise. So be very, very passionate about life. Be very hardworking. Be very focused. And mantra to the youth, I don't know, are these. But then I would like to give a side mantra to the youth. Stop using social media so much. It's only damaging your mind. So that's a side mantra. That's an aside message. But yes, work hard, work towards your passion. When your life and your work is your passion, your work is your balance. That is my mantra, and I would like to share it with everyone.
And that's a lovely piece of advice, I must say. And I'm pretty sure that these words of yours will surely be helping out the youngsters out there. So thank you so very much for joining with us today. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you all the success for all your future endeavors, and may you continue to inspire us the way you are doing. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Varsha. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Thanks to the IF to be giving me this award and giving me this opportunity to speak to everyone through you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you.